What's good, YouTube? Crown Jewel from Crown Jewel Boxing. Back with a gem. Excuse me, I'm moving around a little bit. I'm starting my day. But as y'all can see, um, I rep my squad. I think we're in trouble. I'm gonna be honest. I think right now the Knicks are the better team with Joel Hobble. But I'm still holding out hope for Maxie to go out and have another superhuman performance because the God's honest truth is we know that that's what's gonna take for us to get a dub. So so for life, it is what it is. But now we got that out there. The real reason why I'm here, y'all know I'm pretty much, exclusively a content creator, and biggest topic in boxing, or one of the two biggest topics is Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia still, unfortunately, for bad reasons, and that's because we had an unexpected twist, a turn in the saga, where it was reported by several credible sources last night that King Ryan Garcia, failed not one but two tests the day before the fight and the day of the fight. And I had some comments on it last night. I've had some time to sleep on it, and I want to express my thoughts now a little more in depth. Um, and I will just, I ain't gonna leave y'all in suspense when it comes to whether or not he's taking them. Of course, he still has the benefit of having the B samples tested to see if they match the A samples. So, he has one last small lifeline there. But I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna say where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm a retired firefighter. Some of y'all probably don't know that, but that's an old saying in the fire service is, where there's smoke, there's fire. And there was a lot of smoke. Ryan was acting erratically. Um, I kind of said I thought he was on some type of drugs. I didn't think performance enhancing drugs, but if y'all remember back before the fight, I compared him to Charlie Sheen in the way he was looking, um, the crazy ways he was acting. He was kind of, like I said, erratic. He was acting. He had very erratic behavior. A lot of what he was doing wasn't making sense. We kind of see this could be a reason for that now. Number one, number two. I don't think the average person that watches boxing follows how deep things get in boxing and how the intricate little details when you're at the top level, um, how scientific they are about things, and a lot has been made about him coming in the exactly same amount of weight over in this fight that he was for his last fight for Oscar Duarte, and I think that lends itself again to the possibility of him knowingly cheating. And here's how I'll say why. A lot of people don't know. Most people know that boxers, you know, dehydrate themselves to make weight and then, put the water back in, less than 24 hours, rehydrate and fight. Most people know that. Most people don't know the lengths fighters go to put that water back at this point. And a lot of times they go get IVs and things like that, or along with IVs, not just liquid. Sometimes they get vitamin drips and medicine in them and all kinds of things. But the reason why I point to science is, and the weight being exactly the same, these guys making a lot of money have the ability to hire doctors that have done specific research on how these drugs affect the human body, um, how long they're detectable in the human body, what has to happen for them to become non-detectable in the human body. And like I said, which is why it really only happens at the upper level because it takes a lot of money to be able to navigate all these things, let alone the testing itself is so expensive. So a lot of people talk about, and it's been rumored for fighters in the past where they would get IVs before the fight, and people would be wondering why they would get so much fluids before the fight. A lot of times it's to dilute their body fluids so that whatever they may have been taking during the training for the fight, allegedly, can be diluted and undetectable in their bloodstream. And like I said, it's pretty ironic for Ryan to come in the same weight over 2 fights in a row. And to me, it lends itself to his team realizing that they got the result they wanted in Oscar Duarte and beating the drug test. We just have to put the exact amount of fluids that we put last time into him this time, and follow the same steps, and we'll be able to hide it. But unfortunately, we know what happens. Sometimes it doesn't work, which is why we've had so many fighters caught in the past. And there's been, like I said, when there's smoke, there's fire. Guys like Manny Pacquiao refused that Olympic style testing for years, I think, for this type of reason. But there are several indicators that Ryan, was doing some things he had no business doing. And like I said, the 3 pounds means a big difference now, because people, wonder why he refused to even try to lose any of the weight, and why he was willing to give up $1.5 million in order to keep the weight. Well, if you thought that this water weight that you were carrying was going to help you avoid testing positive, then, you wouldn't want to lose it, because, not having that water in your body will have much tougher consequences, i.e. you're not getting credit if you actually win the fight. The fines he deal with is probably going to be way more than $1.5 million. More than likely, he's going to be suspended. That's going to cost him a lot more than $1.5 million, as I'm sure he would have, much more lucrative opportunities on the table coming off of a win. So, he just stood a lot to lose. And in hindsight, that 1.5 he spent to keep the weight on, if it had gave him the ability to remain undetectable, would be 1.5 well spent. Even if you feel like, that kept him from completely dehydrating and damaging himself, I don't really get into that or understand that, because, again, I know the lengths these guys can go to rehydrate themselves, that people who don't have that type of financial affluence or financial privilege to be able to afford themselves that type of opportunity. So like I said, these guys have nutritionists, they have doctors on their staff, they have all kinds of things, and it allows them to be able to operate safely and healthily within the guidelines, but it also, unfortunately, allows them to know the system well enough, or have people around them that know the system well enough to be able to cheat. And I think that's what happened here, but somehow, there was a misstep, and that kind of usually happens. Like, when people do things wrong, eventually they're going to get something wrong, and it's going to be found out. You may not be found out right away, but eventually you'll be found out. So, what I'll say is, I'm sorry to Devin Haney. Did he make a lot of mistakes in that fight? Yes. Would it have made a difference? I don't know. But the fact that this guy came up dirty, it has to be changed to a no contest. And whatever happened in this fight has to be thrown to the wayside. We have to kind of forget about it and move on. I hope, for Devin's sake, the amount of punishment he accepted in that fight or absorbed in that fight will not preclude him from being an outstanding fighter in the future, especially when the guy that doled the punishment may have been helped with performance-enhancing drugs and may not have got his win honestly and without cheating. So, I really, really, really feel bad for Devin in this situation. If he's a smart man, he would take this time off, and I would still go back and try to address some of the shortcomings that were exposed there, because steroids or not, he should have been getting hitting that cleanly by a left hook when you train for a left hook going in. He should not be able to be found that often, and it's obvious he has some defensive flaws that he has to address, steroids or not. But with that being said, whatever stain is on him from this loss has to be lifted, and there's an even bigger stain on the reputation of Ryan Garcia, who is, I hate to say it, yet another Golden Boy fighter who's popped dirty for steroids. I mean, we got Canelo, Oscar Valdez, and now Ryan Garcia, and that's just fighters in recent years. So, I mean, I was just congratulating Golden Boy for, a big win by Ryan. They're involved in a big fight with Canelo coming up this weekend. And with that Ryan upset and upset this weekend, they may have been the top promoter in boxing again. But Ryan's victory and the fame he just achieved and the business prowess that Golden Boy may have just gained has all been flushed down the toilet with Ryan being caught cheating. And like I said, I champion for fighters regardless of what I like a fighter or not. One of my stablemates, former IBF lightweight champion Levander Johnson, again, lost his life in the sport of boxing. So I understand how serious it is. And anybody willing to cheat and put the to gain an advantage and further give them the opportunity to be able to permanently damage their opponent, I can't respect. So, Ryan, you're goofy. You know what I mean? I thought you were goofy before the fight. I wanted to give you credit for the fight because of how you performed, although I still didn't agree with the antics and the other things that went along with what you did. But now you just straight goofy again. I can't even give you credit for the way you performed in a fight because, again, you popped dirty. So with that being said, boxing has got to do better. We got to find a way to stop this. And I think the way to stop it is much stiffer punishment. Unfortunately, like I said, the guys that usually get caught doing this are guys that have a whole lot of money. So sitting them down a year, giving them a financial fine doesn't really hurt them because they make it all back when they come back anyway. I just think we need much stiffer penalties. And in my opinion, anybody that pops dirty and doesn't have a justifiable reason should have a lifetime ban effective immediately. And in this situation, I think that's the case, unless they can come up with some type of evidence to where there was a mistake made on his part or somebody in his part, on his team, and it's justifiable and actually makes sense. If that doesn't happen, ban this young man for a lifetime, make a statement. This will not be tolerated. You will not risk the lives or put further danger the lives of your opponents in order to achieve success or financial gain. This is one sport or activity where that cannot be tolerated, should not be tolerated, and I hope when it comes to the powers that be in boxing will not be tolerated. That's all I have for y'all right now. Until next time, keep your hands up, your chin down, your ass off the floor. Peace.